Hi friends, in the last video we discussed how can boards be responsible. That became a leading question, a question that should have been discussed a year back. And then we also discussed on how can board be responsible as a probing question. That is the question which is being discussed, which is the present. The third one was how can board be responsible? A loaded question. A question that will get discussed after analyzing various failures and when boards are trying to run for cover. That is when the blame game begins. But for now, let us see in all of these issues that we discussed, what played a very important role was knowledge. And when we discuss knowledge, we discuss three attributes relating to knowledge. The first one was information. The second one was awareness. And the third one was understanding. So, two things which played a very important role to make boards responsible was knowledge and knowing. Now, these are two important things which we will discuss today. Now, knowledge. Knowledge as information, knowledge as awareness, knowledge as understanding of COVID-19. When would it arise? Why would it arise? We had taken up the question on should management keep the boards informed? And once the information flows from the management, knowledge begins. Now, we also connected this term knowledge to a very important section under the Companies Act, which determines the liability of a director, and it states that a director will be held responsible or liable only for acts that were done with the knowledge or with his knowledge which was attributable through a board process. Now that left with a think tank question, should boards be informed by management? And we concluded that the answer was a yes. Now, only when boards are informed will they be responsible. And here I feel good board members will react when you ask. But I have a very interesting question that has come in from a viewer. While we are only on the third video, the response for some of these issues are overwhelming. And I thank all my well-wishers for posing these questions. So I just picked one question from that, which is, after watching a video, there is a question which comes up. As management, we have informed the board, but there is no response. Now, does that mean the board is not responsible? And the person writes to me saying that the views expressed by me was knowledge is information. And once I have transmitted the information to the board, and if the directors do not respond, what do we do? Now that leaves us with one more issue to handle, which is if the management is informed and the board does not respond, how has the management informed the board? It's very crucial, very crucial. So my next question to my viewer would be, was this information transmitted through formal channels or through informal channels of communication. So that very clearly takes us to a separate discussion, which is communication. Now, why am I insisting on communication? Because the liability factor arises only when there is knowledge which has been transmitted through a board process. So, do we need a board meeting to convey what the management has to convey to the boards? Or is it good enough that the management sends an email or maybe a WhatsApp group or maybe different forms of communication and let the whole world say inform that the management has informed the board, but the board has not responded to our issues. So this is one part of the issue. Now some people have come back saying, oh no, we are taking a very different position. And what is that legal position? Because how can you always say that some boards have to be only legally right? Is there not something which you call morally right? Is it not a moral obligation for the board to revert even if something is not legally communicated? And to top it, I conclude with a very important feedback which said, how can boards be inhumane and indifferent and not respond to such a big crisis which is COVID-19? So, in my next video, we will see how this communication happens, what knowing is all about, and then we will try and conclude answers to today's question on what if the boards do not respond. See you. Good day.